thing.
Yeah. All right. So our topic is false humility.
False humility. You know, a student wrote in and asked about it, and a student of the martial arts, not necessarily one of the college students. He was remarking about how the importance of humility, and he asked, what is false humility? False humility is a denying of the truth. So, it would be like trying to be humble is a wonderful thing. It's a good thing to try out. But what you want to do is you really want to attain humility. You don't want to fake it. So, can you play the piano?
Yes.
Good. That has nothing to do with being humble or not. It's just speaking the truth. So a person who might have false humility might say, well, I can kind of play the piano. And that's just not true. You can play the piano. And then what he would say is, well, yeah, I can kind of play the piano, but, you know, I'm not a master. I'm not as good as these guys. That's not what I asked you. I asked you, can you play the piano? It's really a yes or no question. The guys that have false humility will say, they don't, a person who's obsessed with what they believe is humility, but it's truly false humility, won't be able to deal with this, right? Ask me if I am a martial artist.
Are you a martial artist?
Yes, I am. Ask me if I'm a master of the martial arts.
Are you a master of the martial arts?
Yes, I am. Ask me if I'm good. I'm a good martial artist.
Are you a good martial artist?
No, I'm a great martial artist. Now, that is not, someone who listens to this and doesn't understand humility might say, oh, that guy's not humble at all, that guy's not humble at all. You're getting into false humility. I know myself, and I know what I've done and what I can do. And because I understand the truth of it, I have no problem explaining it. Now, the humility comes in understanding that truth and interpreting that truth. The humility comes in knowing that I'm a man, and as great of a martial artist I am, I could just as easily get shot in the back of the head. And that's it for me. If I say, oh, that'll never happen, that could never happen to me, now you're not humble anymore. Now you're letting pride manipulate the truth, and you're letting ego manipulate the truth. Anytime you start to get into justification, get into a prideful statement, into ego, then it's messing with your truth. So when I say I'm a great martial artist, why am I saying I'm a great martial artist? Is it because I truly believe that I am? Is it because I see the facts? The proof is in the pudding. I can see the facts in front of me. I hoped and wished and worked to attain this, and now I've attained it. I have a student in particular who has a lot of false humility. I recently sat him down and I said, this is a tremendous detriment to you. It's become a cancer. Well, I'm not very good. You are good. I don't feel like I deserve the rank that I have.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
How dare you? Was my response. How dare you? How dare you question me? How dare you question your sensei? How dare you think so little of me? That I would for some reason
just want to promote you.
I don't do that.
I see that point.
I've never received money for any of his promotions. I've never given him any reason to feel this way.
Yeah.
But because of this concept of I gotta be humble, I gotta be humble, I gotta be humble, you don't understand what humble is. And pushing false humility is only going to dig yourself. It's a cancer. It's going to dig yourself into a hole in which you think nothing of yourself. What we don't want to do is distort the truth for others. That's not our goal. I had a guy call me up, predominant figure in martial arts. He wanted to do a piece on me. He wanted me to speak at a college. And he said, everybody does bujutsu, but your bujutsu, he says, is the greatest I've ever seen. I said, thanks. When would you like me to come in? He didn't want to hear thanks. He wanted to hear me go, oh, well, yes. I have no problem accepting that compliment. This is what he wanted. He wanted me to say, well, I'm sure you've seen a lot better. And talk down about myself? I'm not going to do that.
I've seen, I've done that before. I've done that before.
Don't give in to false humility.
Yeah, I got to stop doing that.
Don't give in to, now, here's what makes you humble, okay? Can you picture a piano? Who's a pianist that's better than you?
So, Giuliani,
Okay.
you got a ton of.
Right. And what do you... And if someone said, oh, you're just as good as them, you would say... I don't want to fall into it. No, but
I would say I would honestly say I'm working. I would say I wish I was
right.
I mean that would be
hoping to.
Yeah, I'm working towards that.
It's very sweet of you to say, but the truth is,
sure thing. Because I wouldn't want to take that dude's thunder. Because
right.
He's amazing.
Right. So really, where what I'm trying to state is that the truth itself humbles. The truth humbles me.
I see what you mean.
I am humbled before the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If someone said, someone once said this to me, "You're one of the greatest martial artists of all time." I would go, no, I'm not. And they're like, what? Why are you looking like that? That is not true at all. That is not true at all. I'm humbled by the truth. I know the truth. I know how good the samurai were. I have an understanding. I'm not saying I know. I have an understanding of how good the samurai were. And no, that's not true at all. That's not even close to true. I'm doing my best here. You want to compare me to the karate guy down the street? I'm looking pretty darn good. You want to compare me to you're one of the greatest? No, don't dare say that about me. I think that statement disgraces martial arts. Don't say that about me. That's true humility because that is the truth. Humility is born from the truth. It is not born from a statement that belittles you. That is not the plan behind humility. And that is false humility. Belittling yourself, thinking less of yourself, thinking low of yourself. Ask me if I have black hair.
Do you have black hair?
Mostly. And that is the truth. I wouldn't say, this is what I wouldn't say, well, not the blackest of black. Like, what are you talking about? Right. What are you talking about? Well, I wouldn't say that it's really black. Of course it is. Don't deny the truth. Don't give in to this false humility nonsense. Martial artists really have a bad understanding of what true humility is, and I've met a lot of martial artists. Somebody says, he completes. I've seen a guy complete this amazing feat, and I said, that was pretty amazing. Come on, dude, you know it's amazing. That's why you did it. Of course you know it's amazing that you did that. Well, like that. Don't give in to that. Take the compliment. Don't be afraid to see the truth. Did you not work for many, many years to attain that level? And when someone says, hey, you attained that, a nice statement is thank you for recognizing that. Half the time, I consider myself a pretty humble individual. I truly feel that I have a grasp on what true humility is. Sometimes when people want to give me compliments, they're not compliments, and I feel like saying, no duh. Well, yeah.
Like speaking the truth.
Of course. Hey, I didn't know people could do things like that. Well, they can. That's not. Somebody who doesn't understand humility would say, hey, you're supposed to belittle yourself in front of that man's comment and cower and gravel before a man's words. No, that's not going to happen.
That's amazing. A lot of people do that. I've seen a lot of people do that.
Oh yeah.
And it's almost like the thing to do. Like you're expected to.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, there's so much. I wish that. Yeah. And I think I don't know why, but I feel like we're subliminally taught that.
It's crazy. It's absolutely.
I do that sometimes. You know what? I do that. When people give me a compliment, I just realize. I go. It's like my automatic response. Whenever I get a compliment from anybody. It's, and I give the compliment to somebody else. It'll be, you know, if one of my students' parents say, "Oh, you're such an amazing teacher, such a good teacher," I go, my mom's better. You know, or if it's something else, I'd give the compliment to somebody else, cower and hand it to somebody else, like, no, that's beautiful, but let them have it, you know? That's so weird.
The intention's good. The intention's solid. I mean, the intent is to say that I'm not the greatest, which is great. You don't need to do that all the time. You need to say thank you.
I don't do that. I need to. I need to.
I need
It's
to
so
say
weird.
thanks and appreciate it, because, you know, when we make effort and then that effort is validated and then we don't accept the validation, that leads to insecurity.
Yeah.
It also leads to it's our detriment. You know, I mean, we're not creatures that need constant validation, but some would be nice. I'm not talking about validation to the point where your ego, your head swells. I'm not interested in that. But if you were, you know, my piano teacher and you never said thank you, or you never said, you know, I really think you're doing a good job, wouldn't you wonder? You know, wouldn't you? It would be only natural to go, man, what's with that?
Yeah. I probably look kind of weird, always cowering like that. But I just feel like that's my automatic response. I say thank you, but then I cower. So I say thanks, but yeah, there's so many other people that are better. You know what I mean?
I'm not talking about giving into pride.
Yeah.
Because pride leads to ego. I'm not talking about justifying your right to be complimented. I'm not interested in that either. But saying thanks is a great thing.
Yeah, I should just leave that. Thanks. You just
Thanks.
well, thanks. See you next week. You know.
You know what? You know what I like? Thank you. It's so wonderful to be noticed.
Yeah.
You know. I also like. Sometimes I'll say, you know, thank you for noticing, or I'll say, Sensei, really appreciate. That's why I'm here. I'll say that. That's why I'm here. I'll say, that's what I'm here to do. Or of course, I put my time in. And that's what you're doing right now. And I throw the compliment back at them. Things like that. But never like, oh no, I'm not. Hey Sensei, you really know what you're talking about. Oh no, I don't. You know, like that.
Why do I do that?
That's lousy.
Why do I do that?
It's natural. You know, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. So guys, if you're out there, you know, as you're watching this, do you deserve that? Is that a true remark? And remember that it is truth. There's nothing wrong with saying thanks. Thanks, I'm just on the path like everyone else. There's nothing wrong with that, but the thanks should come first. Denying a person's intention to make you feel good about what you are accomplishing is a weird thing to do. That's a weird thing.
I'm just sitting there thinking how weird it must seem.